Do you want to know what one of the best-selling cars here in China is? Well, I'll give you a clue. It's not a crossover or a boring SUV. One of the best-selling cars in China is this little thing. And if you want it bad enough, it will come down under. This little thing is the BYD Seagull, or Dolphin Mini as it's called in some markets. Now I can give you the information about the two specs available of this car in China. We don't know if it's coming to New Zealand yet, but the specs are there's two versions available. There is the entry-level Vitality version, which has a 30.8 kilowatt-hour battery pack, supposedly does 260 k's WLTP on one charge. Then of course you can get the Flight mode, that is the high-spec one, which has a 38.8 kilowatt-hour battery pack. Supposedly that one can do 360 k's on a charge. As for motor power in this little electric machine, it has a 55 kilowatt motor driving the front wheels, which, well, it does sound a little bit pedestrian, doesn't it? But that's the thing about electric motors, they're deceptive, their specs. You might think that 55 kilowatts doesn't sound like much, but all of that power, all that torque is available right off the mark. It's not like a combustion engine where you've got to rev it up to 5,000 RPM to get all the power. That's ready to go straight off the mark. And as you can see behind me, there's actually a test track here. I'm going to take the BYD on a little test track, doing what those cars are doing, to see if it's all go and no show or the other way around. But first, let's talk looks. And it is a funky looking car, at least it is in my opinion. I saw one guy on the internet say it is the ugliest car he's ever seen, but for those who are not vision impaired, I think it looks pretty good. And if you're seeing Lamborghini highlights in this thing, well, you're not mistaken. The designer of this car used to work for Lamborghini, believe it or not. And if you look at the front, that front grille, that is very much an angry anime action figure, I think. I think it looks fantastic. It is a very small car though, and you can see the dimensions are microscopic. You know the Toyota Aqua, for example? It's that little hybrid that always seems to be in the way every time you're going anywhere. Well, this is actually 50 centimeters shorter than the Toyota Aqua, but you'd never know. It packs itself out, it fills its dimensions nicely. I kind of like the angles on it as well. It's very angular. It's kind of like a Picasso-inspired fever dream, but it is so small. It's smaller than my will to live during work meetings. Sorry to my former colleagues who have to deal with me in work meetings. Former colleagues? What am I talking about? Now, its small dimensions don't necessarily mean it's unsafe. This thing is loaded with airbags. It's got no fewer than 8 airbags in this little car. It's also got a raft of safety features, but it hasn't undergone crash testing down under. And it may not if it doesn't make it to Australia and New Zealand. And that's the thing, we don't yet know if it's going to make it down under. One of the things I love about this car, because it's so small, is that smallness means savings. I mean, for example, it's got one window wiper. There, money's saved, one blade. A smaller glass windscreen. Less glass, less cost. Smaller panels, less cost. You look at the wheels. These are 16-inch wheels. 16-inch tires cost less. The whole thing's built around saving money. Even the battery pack sizes. The smaller version costs less here in China. In fact, wait until you hear the price. In China, these things are so cheap, they're nicknamed an alternative to walking. Not because they're bad or low quality, simply because they're so cheap, they're almost as cheap as walking. As if those bargain prices translate into New Zealand dollars if it does make it down under, that remains to be seen. But what about the interior? We see the exterior, it all looks very cool. Does that translate into the interior of the car? Let's find out. Well, you know, honestly, before I'd seen this car, my first impression was that it was going to be a bit cheap and a bit plasticky. I imagined a lot of black plastic, but it's a BYD, so they actually inject some color into it. First of all, we've got the sort of peach wing motif, and that's not by accident. This is a seagull, so it has a big wing in the center of the dashboard. We have a big central display here right in front of us, which has all of the functionality you'd expect in a BYD, all the apps, all your air conditioning controls. The steering wheel has your self-driving or level 2 autonomous driving controls. It has actually a thing called God's Eye. And God's Eye is a very, very fancy term for what is full self-driving, or at least BYD's version of full self-driving. That probably will never make it to New Zealand, at least not in the near future. Stay tuned on that one. The interior, however, is comfortable. There's more room than I expected. Like, you know, remember your first car was typically, you know, something, if you're old as me, something from the 70s or 80s, you could reach over and touch the other side of the car, even in a mid-sized car. This one, I can't. I have to lean over a little bit to touch it. That means it is wider than you'd expect. They've packed the dimensions out quite well. Same goes for the interior. There's more space than I expected. I thought that I'd have things touching me there, like the center console, but no. My leg there isn't even touching the side there. The seats are also, they're just heated. I think it's just got seated heats. I don't think it's got ventilated seats, does it? Oh no, just heated seats. Sorry, just seated heats. The air conditioning, I tell you what though, the air conditioning works a treat. I love it. While we're on the subject of air conditioning, I want to show you a cool little trick that happens in BYD cars. So you know how there's not a lot of buttons in cars anymore, everything's voice controlled, and I found out that Chinese drivers, they tend to like voice control more than physical buttons. At least younger Chinese drivers do. I was talking to one of the drivers yesterday and he said the older Chinese drivers, older drivers like me, they prefer physical buttons. The young ones, they like voice control for everything. If you don't like using the voice control to control the air conditioning, don't worry, you've got options on the bottom of the screen, or, and this is cool, check this out. Simply by using your 3 fingers, my 3 King Charles sausage fingers, I can drop them on the screen down to control the temperature, raise it up, raise it down, or I can use my sausage fingers to move it left and right to increase the fan speed. And there's people on the internet saying,
Well, the Chinese don't innovate, they just copy.
show me a European car that's got that. That is freaking brilliant. As for amenities, we've got 2 cup holders in the center console. We've also got a wireless phone charger in a very, very logical location right here in the center of the dashboard. It also comes with a cigarette lighter, or 12-volt outlet as people call them these days, USB-A, USB-C. It's got 2 little vents here. Oh, they're adorable, aren't they? I'm struggling to find fault, but let's jump in the back. Maybe it's too small to be useful in New Zealand. Let's find out. Oh my God, what the heck? Look at all the room I've got. Look at the headroom. Check that out. So much room. This is a car that's smaller than an Aqua. What the heck? Okay, so we've got no USB charging back here. We've got no vents back here. We've only got a little bit of storage. So you have lost some functionality. It's also got electric windows. It's got both driver and passenger electric seats. Okay, what about the boot? How have they got this thing so good for so cheap? 300-litre boot, but it looks more than big enough. I reckon we could even pass the Mafia test here. Oh, look at that. I don't even make any old man noises. What are you doing? Oh, not again. So this is my life now. Wait, who's getting in the car? I can't see. I'll hold the camera up. Who is that? Okay, so, hi, you've joined me in the, oh my God, in the, what the, oh, it's actually, oh, Christmas bells. Okay, so you join me in the back of the BYD Seagull as we go around the slalom. Turns out, okay, I see one area they've cut costs. Okay, so the back seat is one single slab. It's not a 60-40 split like most cars. So that does mean that if you've got 3 people or more and you want to, say, carry some lumber, some short lumber, then you are going to have one person take the bus or walk, but it's a small price to pay for what is overall an incredible car. Okay, what about the front? Does it have a fartment or front compartment? Let's pop the bonnet and find out. Ah, okay, we've found the Achilles heel here. It has no fartment or front compartment. That is a shame. It does look like there is a potential for a little bit of room in there, and maybe one will appear on the aftermarket in AliExpress, for example. That's one of the great things about Chinese-made cars, is that places like AliExpress are littered with every aftermarket option you can think of for these cars. Okay, but enough talk. Let's see how much torque it has by putting it on that. So let's chuck this thing on the slalom course here. First thing I want to do is adjust the steering wheel. I'm doing this on purpose to show you that it goes up and down, but it's not telescopic. So there's an area they've saved money on. Also, if you drop the steering wheel down to its lowest setting, which is how I like it, it does obscure the top of the fixed instrument cluster here. Let's lock the steering wheel in place. The car is, I believe, in sport mode. So this has got 55 kilowatts at its front wheels, which if I put my foot down in sport mode, it's not bad. Oh, and that power keeps on going. Okay, so we're going through the slalom first of all, and this thing has Chaoyang tires on it, which I think may be the car's downfall, because these are budget-based tires. Instead of asking the BYD guys, I wanted to ask a local what they think of these Chaoyang tires. So, is okay, Bao?
Okay.
How?
Okay.
Okay, so they are okay. Hang on, we're going over the Waikato Expressway. Okay, that does affect the power delivery, but keep in mind, most people are not going to be driving like this in a normal day. Despite the fact they are quite thin, they're only 16-inch tires. It's relatively poised. I think it's the wheelbase. It's got a short wheelbase for an EV. It's got 2.5 meters, this wheelbase. There goes my camera. So if I put my foot down here on the straight, here comes the braking test. And full brake. It's not bad at all. And when it comes to a stop, it's a solid stop.
Not bad.
BYD have sent us here to try and gauge public opinion down under to see if people actually want these cars. So again, if you want that, write so in the comments. BYD, do look at the comments under these videos. I mean it. If you want it, you've got to tell them.